Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by Burn It Up Coaching and the 21-Day Challenge. So if you are an entrepreneur, high achiever, leader, someone who's committed to taking your results to the next level, and you are finding that your results aren't matching your expectations, you're not hitting your goals, you're plateaued, you're spinning your wheels, you feel lost, disconnected, unsure what to do next, then the 21-Day Challenge will bring you clarity, confidence, and charisma to execute your goals effectively. And in 21 days, you will attack your target, your goal, and succeed. So how we'll make sure that that happens is every week we'll do a deep dive coaching call where we go deep into the subconscious beliefs that might be stopping you from success. And we'll also have daily check-ins to make sure that you're taking the actions that you're supposed to. We'll dial in your habits, your morning routines and night routines, and we'll make sure that you are set up with the clarity, the breaking down the goals, the top priorities to hit your ultimate goal for the 21-Day Challenge. If you're interested, send me a message. Let me know. Would love to talk to you about if it's a good fit for you. I only take on 5 people at a time for this 21-Day Challenge. So if you get in, great. And if not, no hard feelings, okay? So that's the first part. The second thing is the iTunes review of the week. And this week is brought to you by Rosie Rosebud. Rosie said, Chris inspires with his wisdom, energy, and brilliance. He asks profound questions of his guests so you can learn strategies to help yourself become your greatest self. His heart is big to help others. Be sure to subscribe to keep inspired on your journey. So Rosie, thanks so much for sharing that. We appreciate you. And if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes to find our podcast, or you can go to iTunes Store directly and search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, or you can go to Facebook and give us a review there. And iTunes, both of them. We like both. So that's how you can do that, and thank you in advance for doing that, and we can shout you out on a future 12-hour marathon. Now, for the man of the hour, Brandon Elliott went from house arrest to buy and hold investor with investment properties out of state that have a 60% plus CCR, cash on cash return. He encourages daily personal development and fulfilling your purpose. He's an advocate of financial awareness and time management skills becoming embraced to lead down the path of success. Brandon supports startup companies and overall entrepreneurs to build multiple streams of businesses. His vision is transforming distressed neighborhoods, hey, casitas mágicas, love it, into dream homes through real estate to pursue financial freedom while making people's money work hard for them. Brandon's passion stems from creating a united, strong family that pushes each other to prosper and thrive. All right, Brandon, are you ready to rock this, bro? Yeah? You ready? You ready,
What's
bro?
up, brother?
You ready, bro?
Man? I'm excited. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too, man. We're going to have a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on today in the midst of having your book getting out there to more people, crushing it in real estate. Thank you for coming on to share this information with our audience, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate everything you're doing. I mean, you're crushing it. You're doing, phenomenal things. So I'm just glad and thankful and honored to be a part of it.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. So let's dive right in, brother. The theme of the day is self-image healing. Heal your self-image. So how have you taken on this concept of healing your self-image, and what difference has it made for you, man?
Whew. That's such a deep one. I really come from, I think it sums up with kind of how you started off my little bio, coming from house arrest to flipping or, buying holds out of state.
Yeah.
I grew up kind of a little bit more of a humbling background. Definitely grew up pretty poor with 2 sisters, a mom. My mom's manic depressive bipolar. So very rocky in the house. She couldn't work because of her situation, and we're just living off of the government, food stamps, stuff like that. We got a lot of assistance from the local schools and local churches, friends, stuff like that. But besides that, from where I've come to where I'm at today, there's been tremendous amount of learning curves, a lot of hiccups, a lot of up and down, and overall just like taking time to fall in love with myself and giving a damn about my future instead of giving up is kind of, I think answers the question to a certain degree, you know?
Yes, dude, I love it, man. So really, when you start caring about yourself and how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, you start showing up in a different way to create different results. You know, like you start seeing your life shift. Start doing these things for other entrepreneurs, creating a book, teaching, educating, giving back, serving, all that good stuff, because you learn to overflow and be, you know, great with yourself. Whereas before, we're going to dive into it, I know, but you probably weren't doing things necessarily for the service of other people. It wasn't all about, you know, making a difference or being fulfilled. It was maybe just survival. You're just trying to survive. So we're
just me.
Yeah.
me, which is never gonna end up being successful. You know, nope. You're definitely gonna run into some problems.
Yes, man. So we're gonna get into that story in just a sec. Before that, though, I covered your intro and shared a little bit about that with our audience. But in your own words, why don't you share about your book that you released, your company, what you guys do?
Yeah. So the book I came out with, it's called Action Driven. It's right here. Basically, I got motivated to actually write the book from an old mentor of mine, and I've kind of grew up with some self-doubt, and I just didn't think I was ready to write a book yet. But he kind of encouraged me, talked me into it. So he gave me the push after he heard my story, my background, and he knew that I could definitely help other people and change their mindset or improve their situation. Overall, I put it out because I've always been known as the person that actually like takes action and just does it.
Yeah.
Doesn't think too much about it, just, you know, adjust as I go. And overall, I see a lot of people that struggle with that exact situation. So overall, beginning, you know, like jumping into the entrepreneur atmosphere, I learned a lot more that helped kind of narrow everything down. And overall, I just decided to put out the book to help get people to know, like, and trust me more, because there's a lot of stories in there of my background that a lot of people will be shocked about, and we might go into, you know, a few today. But so it digs pretty deep into that, but then it also gives what I do on a daily basis to help implement action taken and become action driven.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Dude,
so that's why I started. That's why I came out with the book. Overall, my company, though, Brandon Elliott Investments, I do buy and holds over in Ohio. I live here in San Diego, and I'm looking for distressed properties. I do a full remodel on the property, and then I rent it out. I refinance it afterwards, and I get most of my money back. So I have a very high ROI on my cash on cash return. And then I just repeat the process, something that cash flows consecutively every month.
Awesome. Dude, that's awesome. Awesome. So we are definitely going to dive back into that journey and some of those pivotal moments of wisdom that got you to be this powerhouse author and investor and have the right head on your shoulders to be making it in this world. And you got your own podcast too. You're like rocking it, dude. So things weren't always this great. So take us back to those days where you were challenged, struggling, figuring out how to get through your next day.
Yeah, man. Definitely just as I grew up, I've always just been, I was like lost, you know. I feel like a lot of us go through that, and I'm so blessed that eventually I found my passion, and it happened to be real estate, because it's the biggest like clarity. It's the biggest like relief in my life. Like, even if I failed several times at real estate, you know, I know it's going well right now. If I ever failed, I wouldn't stop real estate. I would jump back in. I would make it work one way or the other. I know this is going to be the long term, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I just didn't have the guidance. You know, how I got into, I ended up selling drugs for a while because I think at the end of 8th grade, I ended up smoking weed with some of my friends, spring break with some of my friends and some older pretty girls. And, you know, that was exciting. So, but because I didn't have the guidance, my house was very stressful. You know, I started working at the age of 12. I was looking for jobs at the age of 9. Wow. But I finally got my first at age 12. And And basically, you know, once I smoked weed for the first time, it was like the biggest relief. It was like a time that I could breathe. I didn't need to worry about money. I didn't need to worry about like chaos in the house. I just like, it was just like relieving.
Yeah.
It was like a big fresh, you know, fresh air pretty much. And it was nothing but giggles.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning. So, so unfortunately though, you know, everything in life, I believe, needs moderation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take it with moderation, you know. So, but because I grew up poor, I knew that I couldn't afford it. So I needed to be the person within my group of friends that ended up supplying it to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I got one of my checks a couple weeks later. It's like $200 or $300. I ended up buying as much as I could with that at the time. It was like an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just overwhelmed. I was like, oh, this is a bunch. It was a lot more than I was expecting. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
But before you know it, I started slowly giving it up to my friends for, you know, $10, $20 here and there. And then to their friends. And just throughout time, because I grew up poor, I didn't know any better. All the money that I got, I just kept on going back to my dealer to pick up as much as I could, and just rinse and repeat. And then I'm picking up, you know, big amounts. And unfortunately, it's a negative situation. But at the same time, because of the lack of guidance, at the same time, it really helped me grow up at a faster age, I guess, because I didn't have the guidance. I needed to be the adult at a very young age. And I needed to think about my future. And unfortunately, that was my only outlet at the time that I could see as an opportunity.
Right. So how did that evolve from there?
Yeah. So eventually my name started just blowing up. I ended up getting too big in my area, and I was hearing stories of cops pulling over random people that I didn't even know, but they were asking that person just randomly, like, "Hey, do you know Brandon Elliott?"
Damn.
And that wasn't good. Yeah, and then I've had guns to my head, knives to my throat. My house robbed several times. My car and other things almost like attempted to be robbed. You know, dozens and dozens of times. I had 5 of my best friends at the time that I hung out with every single day for 5 years, robbed my house a couple days before Christmas. And just the rage behind all this stuff, like they stole a ton of money. I got most of it back, but they had a good time with the rest. So at the end of the day, it was just so much like heartache. It was so much pain that I was going through, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So I had some friends that actually moved out here, and they were sending me packages in the mail. So I ended up just thinking, you know, I went to visit them. I fell in love with San Diego, fell in love with the atmosphere, the good vibes instead of the negativity over in New Jersey. Right. And I decided to move out here 2 months later, and decided to kind of take their roles. So I built up a little empire back home. So I cut off the middleman type of thing, and you know, started growing out here and sending packages back home, stupidly. Yeah. So that was fun for a little bit. Eventually, I've always just been like, I got too cocky, unfortunately, and because I've always got away with so much crazy things. Like I've got away with way too many things. I'm definitely blessed, and I always felt like God had extra favor in my life, which He did. But I ended up making hash oil in my apartment in Pacific Beach, and it was like the biggest one that I did at the time. I knew I shouldn't have done it inside, but I did it anyway. And I was about to go surfing afterwards. Before you know it, though, the fumes in the house ended up, nothing was on, but something sparked within the electricity in the wall. And the stove came out from I wasn't even using the stove, but the stove sparked everything. And big fire in my kitchen, big explosion in the apartment. All the windows blew out. I was personally on fire. I burnt 40% of my body, found myself in the hospital, went through 3 surgeries, had to learn how to walk again, got skin graft.
Oh,
yeah, I got skin graft on my arms and on my legs.
Wow.
Super blessed that, you know, my face, my ears,
Yeah.
kind of all just pulled back together because
Wow.
it wasn't looking good.
Wow. Dude,
Yeah, some
that's
crazy stuff.
incredible. Yeah. Yeah. You were blessed. So that thing blew up, and is that what caused the house arrest?
Yeah, so it was like a pending case for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was like all the evidence was right there, but for some reason they still took their time. And thankfully, because I was not in good shape, so I needed some time to recover.
Right. Right.
I was in the hospital for a month. After that, they gave me another month, and then they came and they arrested me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then I was pending charges of 5 felonies, 12 years maximum in prison, and realistically, it was they were shooting for 5 years in prison, but 5 years is still like, you know, something I wasn't looking forward to. So yeah, it's a crazy situation.
Damn, dude, this is intense. This story is lit. It is lit. No pun intended.
On fire.
Right. Dude, that's awesome that you got through it and you're good. So, like, did you just do the house arrest? Did they slap you on the wrist and say you're doing house arrest, or?
No, man. Well, they did overall, but so this is the thing. Like, I found myself in $11,000 worth of debt the first time in my life, and that scared the shit out of me for some reason. It was just like, wow, this is overwhelming. So I bought myself a lawyer. He really sucked overall, but the best thing that he did was buy me time. So he pushed it back about 2 years, like 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years, before we actually finally took it to trial.
Wow.
And because the DA wasn't giving me any good deals whatsoever. At the end of the day, I ended up, the judge was giving me my sentencing pretty much. She was sending me in for 3 years. And they gave me the chance to speak at the end. Luckily, I had somewhat of like a mentor at the time that helped guide me, and like he told me to prepare for this.
Totally.
Like, they're gonna give you a chance to speak, and he was just like, you know, prepare yourself. Like, don't be a fool, and just like tell them your story, get it out there. So it took me a minute to actually speak up, because it was just like, it was like heartbreaking. You know, I got 2 dogs, which are like my love, my life, and I was just lost at the time. You know, I wasn't doing it maliciously. I was stupid. You know, I just didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
So they gave me the chance to speak. I spoke for like 10 minutes, told them just my upbringing and my situation. And the judge she was just so lenient on me. She totally just changed her mind 180 degrees and gave me, she like kind of applauded me and just said, you know, from what I've come from to where I am today, she knows that I'm not going to do this situation again.
Right.
And overall, she gave me a second chance. She gave me house arrest. And then after that, it was 3 years of probation, which I recently, it was supposed to be done in September this year. But I recently went back about a month or so ago, and I requested an early termination, and they granted it.
Damn.
So,
dude, congrats. Brennan,
yeah.
You are freaking blessed, dude. You are so blessed. Damn. Wow.
It was crazy, brother.
Wow, man. Well, I acknowledge you for getting through it, you know? Like, I had my own rock bottom moment with drugs, and I was in jail, and luckily for me, the charges were dropped. Case was dismissed. Nothing ever happened. Like, never even went to trial or anything. But, like, it was in those moments where I'm like, dude, I'm freaking throwing my life away. Like, I feel like such a disappointment to my family, to the people around me who like love me and care for me so much. Like, come on, Chris Burns, get your stuff together. And it's just being foolish, like you said, being stupid, being cocky, like not making good choices. So, I feel you in that. Hey, we were redeemed. Now let's make the fucking best out of it. You know?
Yeah. No, of course. You know, I when I was sitting in the hospital, I was just so shocked with how much damage I did. Like, they put me into an induced coma for a week. I woke up 7 days later and I was just like, what? The craziest pain ever. I had skin graft on me. I was just like, this is outrageous. And I realized at that moment, it's like, it was the most heartbreaking thing. I was like, if I'm this intelligent to be able to get through all the crazy shit that I did back in New Jersey and, you know, successful in the wrong industry, in the wrong negative industry because of the lack of guidance, I was very confident that I could take that same skill set and turn it into something positive and help other people, you know, in the mix.
Right. Right.
So,
damn, dude. Well, bless God, universe, source, creator, whatever we want to call it. And yes, we're blessed, man. So let's start diving into, you know, action driven. I want to get into like what the principles are behind that, because from that incident, you gain this wisdom of, you know, I got this second chance. Now I'm going to be this badass out in the world and build my wealth in a legit way that is, you know, within integrity of our, you know, law system and all that good stuff. So what did you start discovering along that process, along that journey to be able to create these principles and this philosophy?
Yeah. So, I mean, within the book, basically, it's very kind of beginnerish of jumping into entrepreneur stuff. You know, time management, money management, understanding passion, your vision, like goal setting, time blocking, stuff like that, to really help just overall get your shit together pretty much and stay on point, stay on track, and be like a man or a woman of your word. You know, that's very important to me. And I feel like not enough people, it's very overlooked these days. Right. You know, when you say something, you know, you might say it casually, but, you know, I feel like people should possibly put a little bit more thought into it before they make those commitments. And
they definitely should.
Yeah.
Integrity, man, it's so key. Integrity, following through on what you say you're going to do, honoring your word. You know, that is like, we've gotten into this society and this culture where these kids are being raised to be comfortable, and anytime they complain or scream or cry or whatever, here, just, you know, take this, take the social media, take the candy, take the whatever, like, here, shut up, you know, leave me alone kind of thing. And it's totally defeating our next generation, or at least it was. I think we're starting to reverse that and empower our next generation to make better choices, because we saw the consequences of our actions, or we've seen that manifest through the kids who were born in like the 90s, you know, and some of the 2000s. We've seen that. So that's awesome. So it's the basics, it's the fundamentals, it's integrity, and how do we like start applying that and growing in those areas?
Yeah, so there's a lot of just like things that I do on a daily basis in there that will help kind of guide people to take those actions and implement certain strategies on a daily basis, like setting goals the night before. You don't want to wake up and wake up late or whatever it may be, and then start trying to get your shit together. You know, that's going to throw you off. And, you know, you want to wake up strong, like mighty, ready to go, know what your goals are for the day, and be able to just like conquer the day. I feel like when you take control of your morning, like the rest of the day is nothing. You'll be able to tear it up pretty much. But at the same time, if you slip up on one little thing, it's a slippery slope, and it could potentially turn into like a shitty day pretty much at the end. So time is our biggest asset, is our biggest value. So you don't want to waste that.
Yeah, dude. Time management, priority management is so critical, and it's so overlooked. And I don't think we can have enough people teaching it. You know, we can have totally more than enough perspectives and different people who teach those fundamentals, because that's like, I think what so many people overlook is they get so inspired by the dream. They get so inspired by the freedom of, man, I don't have to report to my boss anymore. I get to do whatever the heck I want. I get to build this business and do whatever I want. It's like, well,
a lot of hard work in between, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of grind and late nights and staying on top of yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable, or get somebody else like a coach or a mentor, somebody that you have respect for, to hold you accountable.
Yeah, man. So in terms of that personal self-discipline, what's your view on self-discipline? I mean, we know like you got to have it, but say more about that for the people who are maybe feel like they're lacking self-discipline and they want to grow in that area.
So this might come off like harsh and it might not be accurate for everybody, but for me personally, I I'm more of like an aggressive type. Like I'm very blunt as well. So, but nothing but love, nothing but
Yes.
love.
Yes.
But for me personally, if somebody's slacking on their own personal discipline, I really believe it kind of comes down to um, not necessarily like a lack of motivation, but for good
Mm.
times, bad times, horrible times, like the best, whatever it was, um, and and overall, you gotta put those things aside, and you gotta fall in love with yourself. When you
Right.
have respect and love for yourself, then it's like why and, and just overall like understanding your goals and understanding your vision, like where you anticipate to be,
Mhm.
then you're not going to let other little things get in the way. But understand, like I said, the slippery slope. You let one thing slide, how you do one thing is how you do everything, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah. 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 And I love that, man, because it's like you said, being clear on your goals is a big way to, motivate ourselves and having the discipline, just starting with the basics. Like I have a habit tracker, right? Like I track my habits on a weekly basis. What are the important habits that I want to track? I want to track journaling. I want to track meditation. I want to track goal setting. I want to track, how many sales calls I'm making a week. If you're an entrepreneur, that kind of stuff is important for you. And, tracking is so important. So how do you track? Is there any specific tools or resources that you use, or do you use like Excel, or what do you do to track your success and whether you're on track or off track?
As far as goals, I really just look at like kind of the 90-day goal,
Mm-hmm.
and then overall, whatever it is, my goal for the year, and then just backtrack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll look at it typically every 2 weeks and
Mm-hmm.
then see, am I on track or not? Usually by the end of the week, I'll know if I've been slacking or whatever it may be, or if I need to kick ass next week to really go into overdrive and make sure I catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Overall, I think routines, understanding like your daily routine, whatever it may be, addressing that and really like meditating or thinking about it to understand like, is this a beneficial routine? Is this something that is going to take me to my next level? And if it isn't, then ask yourself like, well, why the hell am I doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And then either get rid of the negative routines, start implementing new routines slowly. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but one little thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout time, I believe it will become something that will build momentum
Yeah.
and motivation, because it is the right routine.
Yeah.
In your own mind, that feels good,
Yeah.
instead of you doing something like if somebody's playing games and it feels good for the time, but deep down they know that this isn't helping them get to their next level,
Mm-hmm.
then they might feel shitty about themselves.
Mm.
So it's like you want to knock that off somehow, whatever it may be, and then implement maybe running around the block or whatever, even though you hate it. But if you just implement something that you think would be beneficial to you,
Mm.
then that will just build a little bit of momentum and get you excited.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. And I love that you mentioned the routines. What are your routines? So think about when you wake up first thing in the morning and the last thing that you do before you go to bed. Those are crucial times to really dial in your habits, because it's the ones that you have the most control over, right? Everything in between is like difficult. Everything in between can be chaotic. You never know what kind of fires you're going to need to put out, what kind of, maybe you got a project, last minute thing that you got to get across the finish line. But as soon as you wake up, that is your opportunity to set the tone of your day. That's the opportunity to say, I want my day to be cool, calm, peaceful, collected, resourceful, so I meditate. I want to focus on positive things, so I journal for a bit. Or I want to be powerful and courageous, so I affirm certain things. I affirm that I'm that way. I affirm that I'm being and becoming my greatest possible self. And then at night, like Brandon said, make sure you prepare the day before to win the next day. Because if you're preparing the day of, usually you might, like if you get the late start or whatever it might be, like it's more difficult to have that time and that space to make sure that you're prepared. Versus if you need to think a little bit longer and more about what you're going to do, you have that extra cushion at night before you go to bed. And also setting the tone when you go to bed also transfers into the morning. So if you wind down and you're peaceful, you're reading, you're journaling, doing whatever at the end of the day, then that sets the tone for how you sleep and then how you wake up. So if you go to bed and the last thing you did was read, you're going to wake up feeling like knowledgeable. You're going to wake up feeling like disciplined because you got that reading done. So everything keeps that momentum going. So make sure you do those bookends of the morning routine and the night routine, because that just makes the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's so important.
Yeah, dude, it's critical. Critical. So why do some people take action and others don't, Brandon?
I feel like I said in the past, like a little bit of not with everybody, but possibly just like self-love or understanding, maybe. Like understanding their vision or what they want, and they just don't have the guidance. Like they need to be asked the correct questions possibly to see like, well, why do you want to do this? Like people reach out to me all the time that say they want to get into real estate, but it's like, well, why? And then once you figure out like, you know, they saw it on a TV show or it looks like you can make a ton of money, but what is that going to do for you? You know? So overall, I feel like the lack of motivation, lack of taking action just comes from not totally understanding like your purpose at the time. And maybe just overall just being kind of lost or confused.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what were some of the biggest lessons that your mentors and coaches taught you in your journey of success to growing your real estate investing effectiveness and ability?
Yeah. So as far as real estate mentors, I truly didn't have too many. I've done a lot of it kind of just on my own. As far as you know, I did a lot of self-development when it comes down to YouTube, podcasts, and that's kind of why I started a podcast. I wanted to give back because I learned originally so much from podcasts, as well as, you know, about 50 books or so on real estate. So, and I did it for 2 years before I finally like pulled the trigger. So as far as like guidance throughout real estate, I did a lot of it kind of on my own, but had, I guess you could say, like people that I looked up to in the game that I resonated with more, that helped guide me. I think routines overall and building systems was very important, and figuring out something that very like threw me off in the beginning is real estate. There's so many different avenues that you can do within real estate. Like you could be buying notes, you could be fix and flip, wholesaling, rentals, seller financing, whatever it may be. You can do a dozen different ways to make money in real estate. When you're first getting started and hearing all these new strategies and hearing from somebody that's crushing it, then like it sounds exciting, and like you'll stop what you're doing in that and like you'll want to try to chase that. And then you're like, damn, well, this guy's crushing it in wholesaling and he's making it sound easy. So it's like, I should just do that, or I should do this. And I was just running around doing all these different things until like I figured out like I really just need to focus on one, and I need to crush that. You know? So looking up and identifying which niche I wanted to pick, and then learning as much as I could within that, and just, you know, implementing those strategies, something that I resonated with, helped the most.
Awesome, man. So it sounds like staying the course. Whatever you're doing, don't be jumping around to a bunch of different mentors and coaches and what looks like the easiest or quickest path. Make sure you have that self accountability, self drive. But also, if you have someone who's like your mentor or coach, they're good. Typically, a mentor and a coach is great at helping you stay the course, helping you stay accountable, helping you to not jump from shiny object to shiny object. I know that's been a huge challenge of mine too. I think entrepreneurs in general want the easiest path, the path of least resistance. And so we think that, oh, well, this is way too difficult. It's got to be over here. This can't be it. It's got to be a better, easier way. But I think that there's value in seeing these different perspectives and different techniques. I think that there's a saying, one specific thing, and I've also heard the other quote about the Bruce Lee said, I'm more afraid of the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times or one punch or one technique 10,000 times than the other person who's tried 10,000 different things once. Because those 10,000 different things, that person hasn't gotten a deep level of mastery. So in terms of in building an income stream, I believe it's important to master one, get one flowing, green, good, and then start taking on other ones. Is that what you feel as well?
Oh, of course, yeah. Also, when it comes down to people taking that easy road, if there's two roads and, obviously it's kind of the lazy way out, but something that we all kind of resonate with nowadays that, try to go that easy route.
Right.
Nothing in life that's good will come easy, I feel, to a certain degree. And you need to work your butt off for it. So it's almost best to go down that hard road and really challenge yourself, because that's where you'll have the most growth.
Yeah. I love that. Like, I fully believe that life is going to kick our balls, kick us in the balls either way, like we got to be prepared for that, but I think that there's also the mindset of it doesn't necessarily, we don't have to suffer. I think that a lot of people think that they have to suffer, that they have to, endure and hold on. And I know even me, like I was like, this has to be hard. If it's not a challenge, I don't want to do it, kind of thing. And I would get in my own way. I would self-sabotage. So I think it's important to recognize that. Make things easy and simple when they can be, and be willing to go through the tough shit, the dark nights, the whatever it takes, the long hours, the grit your teeth and get through it kind of moments when you have to, because that stuff is going to happen anyways. So I'm curious, Brandon, what do you see as the vision for your impact, your legacy, your business? Are you thinking out at that level so far?
I am, yeah. So what I realized is I definitely want to get more in the atmosphere of multifamily. I have a big goal to hit 100-unit complex, be an owner of that.
Beautiful.
So that's like my big goal as of right now. I know once I hit that, I'll obviously increase it to something higher.
Yep.
But overall, I really want to get people interested in real estate investing. Like, so many people have those limited beliefs, just like I did in the beginning, thinking you need a ton of money, or, I don't want to become a landlord because I don't want to unclog toilets in the middle of the night, stuff like that. And I mean, I'm a landlord and I do it from long distance. I'm definitely not unclogging toilet. I'm not flying it somewhere to unclog a toilet. So it's all about leverage, understanding systems, building them up properly. And I leverage my credit cards tremendously. I take advantage of 0% interest balance transfers with just a flat fee of sometimes 2 or 3%. Sometimes I'm finding recently, no flat fee, just a 0% interest, which is awesome. And I got 12 to 18 months. So that's the best type of, that's really almost no money out of your pocket whatsoever. You're borrowing your credit and paying it off afterwards.
That's freaking amazing.
Yeah. So ideally, I would like to get more people interested in real estate investing, because even if they're not passionate in it, if they're working that 9 to 5 or whatever it may be, even if they just got a few properties under their belt, that would eliminate a lot of people's expenses, and then they could have a lot more time, just free time on their hands to be able to do whatever they please.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So your legacy is to make this impact. First, build the wealth with the multi-family 100 family unit or 100 unit apartment building, and then from there, I'm curious, like, what other passions do you see yourself diving into along the journey? Because as you get more free time and you're able to do other things, like, what do you see yourself getting into to add on or to invest your time and your energy into to grow in these other skills or arts or hobbies, stuff like that? What else is on your future, on your horizon?
Yeah. So overall, just having like a full balanced life. For such a long time, I was focusing on just the money aspect, just business, and then I realized how important it is to really have that full balance, that three-dimensional businessman.
Yes.
$1
million body. Oh.
what?
Shout out to Nicholas and Amanda Barely and the $1 Billion Body Brotherhood. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. That's where I met Brandon. So shout out to them because they're amazing connectors and amazing human beings.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the past year, I really focused on building on my relationship more with Jennifer and several other people that were close to me, which is awesome. And I feel like I'm thriving in that right now, as well as business. I'm jumping into working out again and working, back on my fitness, which is awesome.
Yes.
And yeah, it's important, man.
It is.
So yeah, I mean, what I would like to do in the future is definitely give back in, I like a lot of like, well, what is the word for it? Like just like energy efficient. I like solar or just like clean water and setting up resources around the world, like in Africa or India, certain spots that people need to travel far for, like dirty water. If we could implement something that can just naturally bring water throughout just the air itself, soak up any clean water, filter it, and then have a resource for them. I mean, that's tremendous. That's like that would melt my little heart and then build it right back up again. So something like that would mean the world to me. I definitely want to travel the world as well. I plan on eventually when I tie the knot, I would like to plan for a year honeymoon. I'm just traveling the world.
Damn.
Yeah, that's so awesome. We got some goals.
Yep.
We got some systems that we need to build before we get to that point, but it's good. Gosh. I'm excited, man.
I love it. Dude, that's beautiful. So what would you say is your biggest challenge right now in getting to the next level of your business and your impact and influence?
My biggest challenge. Right now it's really, I feel like it's such a weak type of thing, but it really comes down to contractors driving me crazy. I've had a lot of issues with contractors back and forth. I currently have one that's really good, but I have 2 projects going on, and he can't pick up the other one.
Damn.
So that's kind of holding me back from picking up more properties because I'm limited to my resources of people doing deals. Right. Besides that, just everything in life is a process. I'm not rushing. I'm not jumping the gun or anything. Like I'm just jumping into this year. I jumped into a couple different new partnerships, which is very cool. Got people excited about real estate. Got them into joint venture first couple properties, which is awesome. Super excited. And I'm jumping into some private money loans from some neighbors, some people that see my success and then they want to be a part of it. And and it's a win-win situation. Instead of it's just sitting in their IRA account. It's making good money for them. So that's awesome. It's very exciting.
Legit, man. Legit. What is your focus for developing yourself? What's the top area that you're focused on? What's the area you're committed to growing the most? Is it mind, body, spirit, relationships, finances, business? What would you say is your top priority right now?
Right now it is fitness, but just because I'm kind of like just getting back in the groove of it. But I can't ever put like my relationship or my business on a back burner. So it almost goes like hand in hand type of thing.
Yeah.
Overall, like the fitness is something that I'm jumping into right now. So it's kind of a little bit more new, and I got to get in the rhythm. I got to educate myself. So I'm spending a little bit more time in that realm. But overall, my relationship is extremely, extremely important to me, and I'm focusing on my business to make sure that it floats instead of sinks is very important.
Yes, rises.
Yeah.
It's a plane rising.
Yeah. That's right.
I love it, man. I love it.
We don't just settle for floating.
Nope.
It needs
nope. It's got to go up. Plateau.
Yeah.
Nah, that don't work for us. I love it, man. I love it. Okay, so what are the top, like, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 resources or books or sources of learning and growth that you're focusing on right now? Is there anything like that you're focusing on?
So right now I am rereading E-Myth Revisited.
Nice. Great book.
Yeah.
Great book.
And that's just I feel like I'm slacking a little bit in my systems department. Because I'm very like, just go.
Yep.
I'm like, go. And
Totally.
then I'm like, oh shit, I need to like, I am tracking everything, but at the same time, it's not at the convenience of like, I just hit a few buttons and then it's right there. It's more like, give me about a half an hour, 45 minutes, I'll find it. That's obviously not a productive system. So that is something that needs to be improved.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, dude, Brandon, this has been super valuable. Love the book suggestion. Love that you're working on this awesome areas of your life. The 1 year honeymoon, that was awesome. I love you talking about how you're going to be giving back in the future and legacy, dude. And just so much goal setting, being action driven. You are living it, eating it, sleeping it, breathing it, man. You're crushing it. So, Brandon, let's begin wrapping it up. What are the final words of wisdom that you have for our audience? And then after that, we'll dive into how people can stay connected with you and what do we want them to do next.
Of course. Overall, like I said in the beginning, kind of like why I really came out with this book is to get people motivated to take action and whatever it may be, like the limited thinking or, whatever it is that's holding people back. I would like them to overcome that and just get some breakthroughs within that. So, overall, thinking about something too much and like trying to have that perfect type of strategy, whatever it is, just so you don't fail is something I want to encourage people to try to just overlook and try to just cancel that out. You don't need to focus too hard on something that's going to psych you out. Instead, just like move forward. That's when you'll learn the most. When you do that sweat equity or whatever it may be, jump into that realm. That's where you're going to grow the most. And you might have some hiccups, some learning curves along the way, but failure is okay. And a lot of us just live in that failure is like a no-go. We can't talk about that. We can't have any failure, get in depression mode if that does happen. And, I just want to encourage people to just go for it, take action. And for your audience, I definitely wanted to give something out for everybody that especially stayed this far, but you can put in show notes or whatever as well. If anybody does want a free copy, it's on Amazon right now for $19.95. But if you want a free copy of the ebook, you can go to my website at brandonelliotinvestments.com and check out the contact information. There's a button on there that will show how to get your free copy.
Dude, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being a badass. Thank you for just being the example of when life knocks you down, when you're not sure where you're going, when you make a couple of missteps, you're not going the right way, you totally turned everything around, and you're here to just live and tell the tale about it and be the example that you don't have to stay knocked down. So I appreciate you, man. I acknowledge you for what you've done and how you've redirected your life and all the value that you give to the people around you. You're awesome, man. I'm excited to see your podcast grow. You impact lots and lots of people moving forward. And bro, keep up the great work. Keep developing that $1 billion body. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you at another live event very, very soon, baby. Yeah.
Hey, brother, I appreciate you so much, Chris. Nothing but love for you and everything that you're doing. You're really crushing it, and you're definitely an inspiration to not just me, but thousands of people out there, and we're all just proud of you, of everything you're doing, brother. Keep crushing it.
Thank you, Brandon. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right, man. God bless.
All right, take care.